how each team got there, and we start with Michigan and Ohio State on a snowy day at the Big House. Pick it up in the first quarter. On a 1st and 10 for Michigan from the Ohio State 14. A.J. Henning, this was a great drive for Michigan. It ends with Henning taking it in. Wolverines on top 7-0, kind of setting the tone early. Second quarter, C.J. Stroud to Garrett Wilson. Beautiful grab. Puts the Buckeyes on top by 3. It was a lead that would be short-lived, though. Michigan on the move. Down 10-7 on a 2nd and 8. The sliding grab by Cornelius Johnson. Thing of beauty there, 37 yards, and that sets up Hassan Haskins.
Saw a lot of that.
We did. This would be a theme.
Impressive by the offensive line all day at Michigan.
First time they had led the Buckeyes at the half since 2016. They were on top 14-13. Blake Corum has been banged up. Used him sparingly, but used him well.
Got a little something for you.
It was effective.
55 yards on that run, one of just 6 carries on the day for him. And then on the very next play, it is Haskins, 28 carries, 169 yards, and 5 touchdowns. The first player ever to rush for 5 touchdowns against an Ohio State team. Wolverines up by 8. Aiden Hutchinson was a problem, guys.
No real answer for them as far as the blocking scheme is concerned. Those ends had their way with them today.
He had 3 sacks. He set the single-season sack record for Michigan. How about a little flea flicker?
It's like the old Mitten State special.
It is. It's the flea flicker state. Mike Sainer is still there. 487 yards of offense for Michigan. And the ground game, I mean, just pounding it. 297-64. You saw another Haskins touchdown. How about this catch by Jackson Smith and Jigba? This is remarkable.
You think he saw the football the whole time?
Probably not.
I think they went to replay just to see if they could find the football. It was between the bodies, but it never hit the ground.
That was really something. A few plays later, we're in the 4th quarter now, so heading the other way. Travion Henderson brings the Buckeyes back to within a score, so they're down 8. But Michigan just would not let up on a 3rd and 2. Looking for Roman Wilson, a pretty clear pass interference for Denzel Burke, who's had a very good year for Ohio State. But rough moments all around for the Ohio State defense, and Wolverines making them pay. Haskins by 15. Ohio State trying to get a last gasp here. It's Stroud. Chris Olave. Stroud did throw for 394 yards in the game, 39 of them there. A 4th and 5 here. Just gets it over the outstretched arm of Aiden Hutchinson there, and Henderson taking it in to again bring the Buckeyes within 8. But they just could not stop Haskins, Joshua.
No, they couldn't, and that was the theme of the game. And when you look at Michigan, they want to be physical. They want to get the game started on the ground. They want to finish it on the ground. Ohio State had no answers. It was really mushy up front for the Buckeyes, and you can see where that paid off for Michigan.
Is that a technical term for Michigan?
Well, it's a term, I don't know if it's technical, but it's a usable term.
Descriptive.
Yeah.
That might want to touch that.
Haskins finishing it off with touchdown number 5, and the Wolverines end an 8-game losing streak against Ohio State, their longest ever, and they do it in emphatic fashion. The first win for Jim Harbaugh over the Buckeyes, 42-27. The final, how about 42 points against Ohio State? That is the most that Michigan has scored since 1946 against the Buckeyes. Oh, come on now. That's unnecessary.
It certainly is.
We look at some other relevant stats. Biggest win margin since 1993. First time they beat a ranked Buckeye team since 2003. Very sweet indeed for the Maize and Blue. Jenny Taft with the victors.
You've lived this rivalry, you prayed in it, and you just won. You just beat Ohio State. Describe the moment.
I just feel so great for the players who prepared so well for this game and then went out and executed. pretty much thoroughly. It was great.
I would say so. Your O-line was dominant. Hassan Haskins, 5 rushing touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, great game. Hassan Haskins, Aiden Hutchinson, 2 guys that have carried this team on their back all season long, and a group of guys that just play their hearts out.
All-time sacks leader. A lot went into their performance today, but your defense firing on all cylinders. What can you say about the group?
Yeah, that's one of the best offenses in the country, and I thought we did a really good job limiting the explosive plays and playing well in the red zone.
Take me back to little Aiden when you wrote in your room, I'm going to play football at the University of Michigan. Mom is here, dad is here, your whole family. You wanted this, and you're experiencing it right now.
This is the best moment of my life. I manifested it. I'm here with my family, with my teammates, on this glorious day that we just beat Ohio State.
What a moment for Aiden Hutchinson and everyone wearing maize and blue. It has been a long time coming. And Joshua, this is a rivalry where the team that has established the run game has been the one that comes out on top. This is the 20th straight year that the team that averaged more yards per carry won the game, and we really saw it early on in the game, and I know one drive in particular for you in the second half that kind of was the game in a nutshell.
Yeah, it was Michigan's first drive of the second half that was really the game for me. It crystallized the physicality that was happening really on both sides of the trenches, but specifically on offense in that run game with those 2 running backs for the Wolverines as we get into the tape here. So you're going to see Blake Corum on this first play. Just going to take it outside. Guys for Ohio State struggling getting off of blocks on the edges, and then the physical finish right there from Corum, and then again, Corum kind of breaking it outside and then cutting up through the middle. Ohio State taking poor angles, and Blake Corum, just a phenomenal athlete when he gets out in space. And then Hassan Haskins, who had a great game, and this is going to give you shades of Ohio State versus Oregon with the counter play right there, but able to finish it off in the end zone. Ohio State on the defensive line struggled to get off of blocks. We saw the pursuit there from the secondary, and the second level with the linebackers wasn't very good, but Michigan was the more physical, hungrier team in the game, and it really showed, and that's why they got the victory.
Yeah, and that first drive just was the same way all through the game, right? You never felt like Ohio State had control. Even when it got close, you still had a feeling that Michigan was going to win this game. And they did. They rushed for just under 300 yards, but they threw for 190. And what that meant to the Ohio State defense is that they had to defend both the run and the pass. On the other side, Howard, at the point where Michigan no longer had to defend the run, the Ohio State protection couldn't hold up. There was no adjustments to some of their better players on the defensive line. They just used their base protection, and it didn't serve them well at all.
Yeah, and I thought one of the reasons that happened is because they wanted to stay in the 3 wide receiver, 4 wide receiver type formation because they needed to get back in the game. But one of the things that stuck out to me, and just thinking about Michigan and what they do on the perimeter as far as the wide receivers are concerned, these guys block. And it reminds me of the old school Michigan wide receivers that would block all day long. They wanted to run the ball. They get it every now and then. But these guys on the perimeter, the tight end group, they do an outstanding job of competing when they don't have the ball in their hands. And that speaks volumes about this team.
11 wins for the Wolverines, their most under Jim Harbaugh. They got opportunities for several more here, fellas, down the stretch. This is a team, again, that's going to play for the Big Ten championship next week. You win that, maybe you go to the college football playoff.
Not maybe.
A couple more. You definitely go if you win that, and then maybe you get a couple more wins while you're there. That was the maybe that I was looking for. So, yeah, a glorious day, no doubt, for the Maize and Blue. The other side of the story, Ryan Day, first time he has lost a game to a conference opponent as Ohio State's head coach. Let's listen in on what the Buckeye boss had to say afterward.
I mean, it hurts. Yeah, I mean, it certainly, when you live this year round, I mean, it hurts. And there's so much riding on it, as we know. And it's going to leave a mark for a while. You make progress and you keep growing, but, you know, at any week, if you don't show up and do it, you know, this is what happens. And, you know, this 6-game run was a real run for us, week in and week out. And there was a lot of good play in there. But, you know, especially this game, I mean, if you don't bring it in all areas, you know, you can get exposed. And just like you see week in and week out, you know, this is what can happen if you don't play your best game. And we did not play our best game today. And so this is what you get.
That is for sure. They had won 21 straight games against ranked conference opponents, far and away the longest streak in the history of college football. And so it's not like everything is failing here, right? But it was a game in which really from top to bottom they were dominated, and it does lead to some questions, kind of a grand what's now for the Buckeyes. How do you get back to where they expect to be?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a lot of changes for Ohio State's defense, and this has been an ongoing problem throughout the year, and they made a switch in who was calling the plays on that side of the ball. But you look at Ohio State as a team coming in that was leading the Big Ten Conference in sacks, but you look at them against the ranked opponents, currently ranked opponents that are on their schedule, only 2 sacks in those games, and that number really stands out. And then the pass game, talked about it, Jerry, but early on, Michigan was hitting shots down the field to the point where Ohio State felt like they couldn't get too aggressive defensively because of that threat. So there are a lot of questions on that side of the football.
Right, and we say this all the time. We hold them to a higher standard, but it's players or coaches, right? I would say from a player standpoint, the one thing they didn't have this year that always kept them in the national championship hunt was a rush from a 4-man rush. So they didn't have that. I think their recruiting has not been great at linebacker. If you study their linebackers, they're not a strong suit. The back end, obviously, they've had some problems. Offensively, I think they just have to decide, do we always want to rely on the pass? Do we want to be a little bit more balanced? And I think their offensive line today could not handle Michigan. And if you're going to be Ohio State and beat Michigan as you go forward, you're going to have an offensive line that can handle the Michigan defense.
I think as fans, I think of people that are watching this game, and you mentioned it, not being able to get there with the 4-man rush, it's because they had elite pass rush.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't just good, they were elite. And they don't have that guy right now, and it shows. And it really manifests itself on the back end because they have so much time, forcing linebackers to have to bring extra pressure. So they have to get a lot of things figured out and straightened out from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, and the 2 losses they had, Oregon and Michigan, the scheme was a problem. It wasn't necessarily the players. I mean, you're going to lose some one-on-one battles, but they didn't always have contained today. I mean, they didn't look like a well-coordinated defense.
0 tackles for loss in this game. I mean, that's just a staggering number.
When you talk about Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, just been a dominant line of scrimmage team, and they got dominated on this day. So let's head to the West. Wisconsin would be in with a win over Minnesota. Paul Chryst, PJ Fleck exchanging pleasantries. 2 QBs preparing to go head-to-head. Pick it up in the second quarter. Tanner Morgan intercepted by Scott Nelson, who brings it back for the touchdown, and the Badgers take a 10-3 lead. Later in the second, it's Morgan to Chris Ottman-Bell.
Nice catch.
I mean, fighting through the contact.
Drops it, though. So it would be a field goal attempt for Minnesota that was good, that made it 10-6. How about Justin Wally? They were raving about this guy when we were at camp. And the youngster coming up with a huge interception here.
Fighting for it. Snatched it from him.
Gophers ball on the Badger 28-yard line with Wisconsin up 10-6. And on the very next play, it is Morgan to Brevin Spanford. Didn't throw for a ton of yards in this game, 199, but they had some big plays. Kai Thomas takes it outside and takes it in. They're now tied at 13. It's Morgan to Ottman-Bell. They had 5 pass plays of 25 yards or longer. Ottman-Bell taking it in there, puts the Gophers on top 20-13. Then another big one. This is for 30 to Spanford. Dragging tacklers. The Gophers would kick a field goal, go up 23-13. Badgers forced to go for it on a 4th and 4. Mertz throws incomplete. And the Gophers win the Axe for just the second time in the last 18 meetings. Megan McEwen with Coach PJ Fleck.
Coach, you held Wisconsin to under 70 yards rushing the ball. Why is your defense so effective today?
First of all, we got a great coordinator in Joe Rossi. We got amazing coaches. These players just keep playing their hearts out. They've been through a lot of adversity. And I'm just so proud of them. This is what college football is all about, and this is what Minnesota's all about.
Offensively, Tanner Morgan, more than 200 yards rushing. What do you like throwing the ball? What do you like about his game?
He's a winner, and he's had a lot of things happen to him, including his dad passing away 5 months ago. He's been through a lot this year. He's what this team's all about. He's got a big heart. He's courageous, and that's row the boat right there.
You win the Paul Bunyan Axe for the second time since you've been here, but what makes it special with this group?
A lot of guys came back to do this right now. Since January, this is what they wanted. And when I sat down with all those guys, I said, what do you want? They didn't say Big Ten West champs right away. They said, we want the Axe first. They want the Big Ten West championship. Sorry we couldn't win the Big Ten West, but they get the Axe as the consolation prize.
Pretty good consolation prize. As for the Big Ten West champs, it is, of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes. What a great couple days for them. They have the 5th largest comeback in school history, largest in conference play in 25 years. And then Minnesota comes through for them, so they are indeed headed to Indy. Lots more on that matchup to come. But here are the thoughts afterward of Paul Chryst after a disappointing afternoon.
Obviously, when you don't finish, like we wanted to, or anyone wants to, right? Every time you go play, you compete to win, and when you don't, there is obvious disappointment.
Awfully impressive win for Minnesota, and Howard, really the defense set the tone throughout this game.
And you talk about a team in the Badgers who have been running the ball so well as of late. To be able to shut that down for the most part and really make them one-dimensional was a big part. And this defense has really been playing at another level at times this year and really needed that play like that today.
Yeah, how about Wisconsin rushing for 62 yards and Minnesota for 75? Right. I mean, that happens every week, right? Mm-hmm. So two really good defenses. But we said in the pregame, if it's up to the quarterbacks because they can't run, it's going to be whatever quarterback played better. Tanner Morgan played better than Graham Mertz.
That's exactly it. We said, can Graham Mertz go out there and make the throws he needs to in the case that they can't get the run game started? And really, once they went behind in that game in the 3rd and 4th quarter, you could see that he was pressing. That's not where Wisconsin wants to be as a football team. And on the reverse side of that, that's exactly what Minnesota wants to do as a football team, is play great run defense, force teams to try to throw the ball down the field, and then give it to their offense so they can kind of grind it out. Tanner Morgan, however, had to step up. And when he's throwing the ball in rhythm, he's a really, really good quarterback.
Yeah, and again, they had several big gash plays. Think about how close they were to making it to Indy. Remember, the formula for them just included Iowa losing to Nebraska, which they nearly did. I mean, it took a miraculous comeback. Right. And then they needed Purdue to win, which Purdue did. So Minnesota that close to going to Indy, and I suppose Wisconsin could say the same thing, just one win away. But Minnesota really controlled this game here down the stretch. What do you take from the Badgers' performance?
Yeah, I think the Badgers right now, it's great defense, which they were pretty solid throughout. We talked about their run defense, and that was always one of the strengths of what they were able to do. But the pass game has been the question. And when the run game could not come through, the pass game just wasn't good enough. And so in the offseason, that's going to have to be something they work on throughout bowl practice, just figuring out how they can push the ball down the football field.
Yeah, no doubt about the offense. I'm not sure that the defense has been great the last 2 weeks. I think we've all looked at them as a whole body of work all season. They've been good, but they haven't been really good last week or this week.
Yeah, so what's the reason for that? We probably don't know. Maybe there's some injuries or something, but they haven't been playing at that level. But, they have to find a way offensively to be able to put up more points. And get around the bowl season, it's about scoring points. You got to score points and figure that out.
Not a very dynamic team offensively this year, but, man, they found a keeper in Braylon Allen. He is really something. Again, just their 4th loss in their last 29 trophy games for the Badgers. Trophy on the line as well between Penn State and Michigan State playing for the land grant. Maybe they should play for the shovel. The first quarter, 7-0 Michigan State. Peyton Thorne, Trey Mosley. Spartans got off to a great start on top, 14-0, but back comes Penn State. Jahan Dotson running free.
Y'all know where that guy is.
Hardly see him, though.
That's the problem, those white uniforms.
They should play in the snow with white uniforms every year.
This should be their strategy. Peyton Thorne picked off there by Daquan Hardy. Takes it in for the touchdown. Penn State on top, 20-17, but back come the Spartans. Thorne pushed into the end zone. Extra point was no good. They had all kinds of kicking issues with an injured kicker for Michigan State. So it's 23-20. Kevon Lee fumbles there. Just 61 rushing yards for James Franklin's team. Kind of a familiar theme. Ensuing Michigan State drive went for it on 4th and 15 with the injured kicker. You gotta have to. And Thorne finds Reed for the 20-yard touchdown. The Spartans celebrate 30-27. Michigan State gets the win. They finish 6-0 at home. Jillian Sakovitz with the winners.
Coach, a 10-win season for Michigan State after a flu outbreak, injuries, and a tough loss last weekend. How much resilience did the Spartans show here today?
Well, these guys are very resilient. I mean, they always fight. They're mature. They understand, hey, listen, we just got to get ready for the next one. We had a great week of preparation. They're playing for each other. They're playing for our seniors. I mean, we had a lot to play for, 10 wins. I think it's the 9th time in the history of the school that we've gotten to 10 wins. And so we're playing for the land-grant trophy. It's just a lot to play for. And we'll see what's next for us.
Snow, a flu outbreak, injuries, and you guys battled to go undefeated here at home in 2021. What can you say about this team?
Man, it shows the resilience of the team. I think this might be our best win for those reasons that you just listed. We battled all week, battled out here in the game. I mean, we had everything thrown at us this weekend. We came out, victors, and that's an awesome feeling.
It has to be. You want to talk about resilience, and again, they mentioned this flu outbreak, which ran through the Michigan State team, but just to bounce back from what happened to them last week. I mean, they got humiliated in a huge game, and man, was this a great response.
It was a great response, and I think this is what we've come to expect from Mel Tucker coach teams, is the fact that they're going to be ready for whatever battle comes next after they have a little bit of adversity. And it's been special watching this year 2 for Mel Tucker, because you get the emergence of Peyton Thorne, who's done a really good job. His development was a big story. Obviously, Kenneth Walker getting him out of the portal, inserting him into that offense, and then some of the wide receivers that have popped up. It's been really fun to watch. The defense obviously needs to come up to speed, but just what they've been able to do offensively and winning 10 games is really impressive.
Yeah, I'll repeat what you said. I mean, when they were rocking and rolling, when they came on the scene, they were undefeated for most of the year. It was Peyton Thorne's gotten so much better. He throws for 268 today. It was Kenneth Walker in the transfer portal. He ran for 138. I mean, that's how they want to play offense, and they hadn't always played it that way, but when they play it, they're pretty good, and they were pretty good today.
Really an unbelievable coaching job this year by Mel Tucker and obviously his staff, and for the players to buy in, because I think that's the biggest challenge when you're coming into a new system, getting everybody to blend in. But they did it, and they made it work, and it's going to be why he's going to be considered heavily for Coach of the Year in the Big Ten Conference.
Coach of the Year is an interesting vote, isn't it?
It will be.
He is certainly in the conversation. There are several really good coaching jobs, but they win 10 games in the regular season for just the 7th time ever. What do we make of Penn State, guys? 5 losses in their last 7 games down the stretch after getting all the way up to number 4 in the AP poll. Really, again, the run game, I think, it has been an issue, kind of a thorn in their side all year, but once again, just kind of unable to get over the hump in this one.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes programs have a down year, and you talk about the run game. I think that's been an issue. The offensive line really needs to come together, but James Franklin getting some job security with that extension there, I think really helps, because they've got a really good recruiting class, and they can build now into the future with that in mind. So you got to see what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm concerned about their offensive identity. 3rd offensive coordinator since Joe Moorhead left. Where are they? Are they okay with the run game the way it is now? Is that stylistic, or is that just all they thought they could do in the run game? So I think a reboot in the spring with Mike Yurcich, what their offense is going to look like.
It also shows how important having a healthy quarterback, because when Sean Clifford is healthy, this is a different team, and he plays at a high level, but he's got to get some help.
No doubt. Just 11-10 for Penn State since the start of last year. But again, a great class coming in, and I have to feel good about the future. Maryland and Rutgers. Winner heads to a bowl game. Pick it up in the first quarter. 7-0 Terps. Leah Tungabailoa to Brian Cobbs. 38 yards. Tungabailoa was great. 21 of 30, 312 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Extra point was blocked. Rutgers returned it for 2 points. It was 13-2, and it's Tungabailoa. He became the single-season pass yard and total offense leader for Maryland in this game. 4 total touchdowns. Dumps it off here to Corey Dyches. 26-9 in favor of the Terps, and then it is Tayon Fleet-Davis. Second rushing touchdown of the game. The Terps win at 40-16. Bowl eligible for the first time since 2016. Oh, Crystal Rich.
Gotta be cold.
With the wet Mike Loxley.
Don't hit him in the head.
Ooh.
Congrats on bowl eligibility. What does it mean to you in this program today?
You know what? It's not even about what it means to me, but it means something to me about the 25 seniors and even some of the guys that aren't in our program today that endured quite a bit before I took this thing over. And for this group of 25 guys to lay this type of foundation, we took the next step. That's what we talked about all year long. we took the next step, and I'm really proud of the guys.
You were so efficient today on third down. Now you get a couple of extra weeks. How is that really going to help your program?
Well, to get us healthy, we haven't talked about injuries all year long. We got some guys that are banged up that haven't been able to contribute. This is the end of the 21 season for us. We look at the bowl game as the start of next year, and we got a bright future. And as I like to say, the best is ahead.
We had a lot of ups and downs throughout our season, and, we're just blessed that, God continues to bless us with another game that we get to play in. It's just a big thing for the seniors, and, happy to give them another opportunity so that they can play another game wearing the Maryland jersey.
For me, being a fifth-year senior, being here since I was a freshman in, 2017, and to go bowling for the first time, I still can't believe it, So I'm just ready for the experience. I'm so glad my team got the opportunity to experience this, especially for the freshmen. So I want them to be hungry and be able to come and get some more next year.
Pretty cool, and they did it emphatically, their second largest margin of victory ever in a conference game. This was an all-around really good effort, Howard.
Really good effort. And you think about them being able to make these big plays and all the injuries that they've had at the wide receiver spot, but other guys were able to step up and make plays for him. And Talia really does a great job. When he gets in a rhythm, he's a very tough quarterback to slow down, completing 70% of his passes today, and was a big reason why they were able to have the success.
And they're explosive almost every game, but the problem sometimes is their turnovers. So today they were explosive, no turnovers. And the other problem they've been having in some games is their defense. Their defense was sound, really played well. Probably the defense's best effort this year.
That's the story for Maryland for me, is when you look at their offense, they've been really good when they haven't made mistakes, when they haven't had a lot of penalties, when they haven't turned the football over, and they were able to be explosive. But that defensive performance was really, really good. And we had talked about how poor the defense for Maryland had looked at times where guys were just running through, whether it was on pass plays or run plays. This game, they were able to tighten up.
Yeah, last 7 games coming in, they had given up more than 45 points per game. So I'd say they tightened it up significantly, giving up just 16 to the Scarlet Knights. How about Indiana and Purdue battling for the bucket? David Bell and the Boilers looking to get to 8 regular season wins. We're up 7-0 early when Donovan McCulley took it in for the Hoosiers to tie it up at 7, but all Boilers from there. Aiden O'Connell to Paul Peferi.
Wide open.
Careful. They're wide open.
First career touchdown for Peferi. Purdue on top 14-7. O'Connell, he has really had a good year.
I could say more than just a good year.
Trying a career high with 4 touchdown passes. Purdue on top 24-7. How about TJ Sheffield?
Got a lot of weapons, huh?
He has a lot of weapons. 31-7. One of those weapons is named David Bell. And there he is. Into the end zone for the touchdown. How about 44-7? Here's Telly Hughes with the victorious Boilers.
All right, thanks, Aiden. Your last time on this field as a Boilermaker, and you all recaptured the old Oaken bucket in your final time out. How surreal is it to go out like this as a senior?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just a great win for our program. I say it every week. It's all about the players and the coaches who just put so much time in and, give their lives to what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm so proud of my teammates, proud of my coaches, administration, the fans to win at home here after, 2 years ago having a tough loss here and then not playing them last year. It's just, like you said, it's surreal.
Pressure's on us to come through. So, our guys played hard. It was a big win. I thought we won in a pretty convincing fashion. We challenged our guys to come out and win the second half and play better because I just thought we were a little sloppy on some things in the first half, and we did. And, so really proud of our guys for the effort they gave us all year. Winning this conference, as you can tell by the scores today, there's just a ton of parity, and you've got to do a lot of the small things right in order to have a chance.
6 conference wins for the Boilers, the most since 2003. They did small things right. They did big things right. They did just about everything right in this one.
Yeah, this has been a historic year for Purdue, and they've done a great job, obviously, getting the wins. But when you look at how they've done it, you start to see some of the stars emerge. Obviously, David Bell has been really good. Aiden O'Connell, from where he started off in his career to what he's performed like, has been an extravagant story. And then, of course, George Karlaftis on that defense, which is a much improved unit. So congrats to the Boilers, because this was a really fun season to watch for them.
And I think the whole season has been set up by their defense. Earlier in the year, they won a game scoring 13 points. They held Iowa to 7 points. Today, they hold Indiana to 7 points, though Indiana obviously has struggled on offense. But they set the table by playing better defense than they ever played, and they had 167 yards rushing today. And then you take everything that Jeff has done offensively and put it with that. Yeah. This is his best year.
Yeah, when we started watching this team in the summer, right, the defense was being coached the same way the offense was, which was very difficult. Those coaches coached those guys hard, and the players responded. And I think you talk about the defense, and it was great to see them respond the way they have all year, even when they've had some downtime. But this offense has been really good, particularly when they've been able to protect the quarterback and not turn the ball over.
Fifth opponent held under 300 yards this year. I mean, who would have thought that for Purdue?
Nobody.
That is really, really impressive. And Indiana, of course, finishes winless in the conference. Really rough year for them. Illinois Northwestern Wildcats have won 6 straight in the series, coming in their longest win streak ever, but that pretty much epitomized their day. Andrew Marty the fumble, Isaiah Gay the recovery. Illinois takes over in the red zone, and here comes Daniel Barker.
Hello. Hi, Daniel.
There's Daniel Barker. Illinois on top 7-0, and they were off and running. Brandon Peters to Isaiah Williams, wide open.
Then the difference when Peters can connect on some of those deep throws, this Illinois offense has a new dimension.
Northwestern giving up 30 or more points for the 8th time. That is the most since 2002. Williams again was 37-7 at halftime. 47-14. The Illini hoist the hat for the first time since 2014. Here's Elise Menaker.
Coach, since you were named head coach at Illinois, you knew that this was an important game. It's senior day. You got the decisive win, some big moments. How do you describe this feeling down the season?
Well, I just say appreciate the opportunity, right? Like, you're very thankful this time of year for a lot of things. The opportunity to come here and coach at Illinois, but to work with these guys, these seniors, they've truly just kept, working every day. Today, I really wish I could just play one more because I really want this group to keep showing how much they've improved. But we don't get that opportunity, then obviously next year will be a lot of really good things.
Chase snapping a 6-game losing streak in this series.
1,000 yards!
Well, maybe I should start with that then. 1,000 yards on the season. How does that feel?
I mean, it feels really good. All the hard work in the offseason paid off. I love you too. All the hard work in the offseason paid off, and it's just a surreal moment to kind of take in with the boys. And it's not only an achievement for me, but it's an achievement for everybody else. So I'm just happy we're able to hit that mark, and just looking forward to what's in the future.
Because it got them to the Big Ten championship game for the second time ever. They will take on Michigan. These two teams playing for a Big Ten title. Remember, neither one of them has won a Big Ten championship since 2004 when they split it. But now they go head-to-head. Just the third time they have met in the Jim Harbaugh era. So kind of an infrequent matchup. We're going to be talking about it, obviously, throughout the week. We will all be down there. But first blush, what are you watching for?
If I'm Brian Ferentz and I turn on that Michigan tape and I see how they limited the scoring opportunities for Ohio State, I'm kind of reeling, looking for answers, because Iowa's offense has struggled to put up the production this year. So I think this is probably going to be a game that leans on both of the defenses. It'll be really unique to watch it.
Yeah, and if I'm Phil Parker, I'm looking at an offense that can beat you both with the run and the pass. I don't think they've played anybody, obviously, with the talent that Michigan has, but also the offense that could beat you with both one or the other. I think they're that well-rounded, Michigan is on offense.
Yeah, Josh Gaddis has done an unbelievable job this year, really building up to this particular point, because there were games where he was just able to dominate. The team was able to dominate just running the football. And as the season continued to progress, when it was time for them to throw it, they threw it, and they found their players that also stepped up to make some big plays for them.
It is going to be challenging for Iowa, no doubt about it. And this, of course, has been a theme throughout the Big Ten championship since we went to East and West. The West team has never won that Big Ten championship game. We'll see if Iowa can end that this coming Saturday in Indy.